the pro-Israel club I used to be the president of, who blocked me after I started being pro-Palestine, reach out and tell me that she changed her mind that Israel's committing a genocide? Did I shit on her for not waking up earlier? Of course not. Be charitable. I don't care how late you realize, as long as you eventually realize. Charitability is the name of the game. Yeah. Also, people respond to what they're seeing right now. I promise you, those people who are just now waking up, no matter how late it is, a year from now or 2 years from now, are probably going to be by your side. Now, that's different, though. That's a human being and not a politician, okay? So obviously, we're not talking about politicians here. Different expectations, different standards. And even all politicians are not the same either. What they can do for you is quite similar, of course. But my expectation from Bernie Sanders is, of course, going to be a lot higher than even AOC, as a matter of fact, partially because of Bernie's prominence and partially because of his history. Yeah, I told you so stuff is never useful, but I think this exaggerates the extent to which the tent is really growing. Most of these statements from Dems are a combination of vague hand-wringing and calling for a ceasefire in the same manner Biden did, which is Hamas must surrender. Anyone who isn't at a minimum explicitly calling for a full arms embargo against Israel, not bullshit but offensive defensive carve-outs, is not really joining any tent in a meaningful sense, just engaging in PR ass covering. Looking very upset is not a political position. Yeah. No, absolutely. What's the point of gathering more support in the future, as you're saying, when all those people of Gaza will be ethnically cleansed by that time? Because you don't have a timeline. You don't have that timeline. So you have to act as though every single person you can bring on board tomorrow, yesterday, a week from now is still valuable. It's for those people who you are trying to help survive that you do this. That's it. That's my attitude. Because what you're describing is defeatist. I mean, I just interviewed, like, I'm doing it for people like Abdurrahman and Yusuf, okay? I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for the people who are still very much alive and very much hope to continue living and live freely as they deserve, okay? So I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about telling people I told you so or whatever. That's the reason. Mosa Abu Toha says Israel's going to resume airdrops of aid, which, by the way, airdrops are an inconsistent and unreliable solution to this problem that Israel itself has created. Israel's going to continue resuming airdrops of aid. They're enabling safe movement of UN convoys delivering food and medicine. They will reconnect a power line to a Gaza desalination plant, boosting daily water output to 20,000 cubic meters. What happened all of a sudden? I will tell you. Some countries applied some pressure to Israel, which means these same countries can stop the genocide. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah. I mean, fuck the politicians that took this long to get on board, or they're not even fully on board, let's be real. But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because as long as, like, it's the same as, like, politicians even seemingly offering symbolic gestures to a Palestinian statehood in, like, a Q7 nation like France is moving the needle in the appropriate direction. I'm not going to fucking celebrate these people, but I'm also not going to shit on them unless they do something that's worthy. It's always good not to punish it's always good not to punish good behavior. You should probably either reward good behavior, reward them by no longer fucking yelling at them, and expect more or demand more, and focus on punishing bad behavior. It's not good behavior. It is good behavior. Yeah, treat politicians like fucking dogs, okay? Like you're potty training them. Do you understand? That's my assessment. I don't care. I mean, I think it's... I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm so fucking tired.
They pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was...
Please stop comparing humans to animals in a derogatory manner. I assume you're more upset that I'm comparing animals to humans, right? Like you're mad that I'm comparing animals who are infallible and have done nothing wrong to human beings that are actually bad and evil, especially politicians.
Didn't really want to make it.
Yeah, Trump admitting that Israel would not accept a permanent end to hostilities and would resume the attacks after getting the hostages, yet is still blaming Hamas for not taking the deal. Yoav Litvin writes, the aim of liberal Zionist propaganda at this stage is to salvage the Zionist project. To that end, prominent figures like former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert have begun publicly denouncing Netanyahu and his government, accusing them of committing a genocide, a threat. Yeah. Ehud Olmert, the liberal Zionist, is so funny, though. Like, Ehud Olmert being in the liberal Zionism camp is kind of funny to think about. This has sparked excitement. It's like Mitt Romney being like a fake rhino, you know? This has sparked excitement in some circles. Even Israeli leaders are calling it a genocide, but this is not progress. On the contrary, by acknowledging that it is a genocide, specifically in reference to Operation Gideon's Chariots, they achieve strategic goals. They exonerate the Zionist project as a whole, implying it wasn't genocidal before October 7, or even until recently. Only now under Netanyahu has it supposedly crossed that line. They shift blame away from themselves, pinning guilt squarely on the current government. They offer a rhetorical defense against the international legal scrutiny, such as charges before the ICJ. They work to shield Israeli soldiers, many of whom have been documented committing war crimes, from accountability. In essence, their disingenuous outcry is a signal/offer to the international community, i.e. the U.S. and its allies, that the mission has been accomplished. Now they can pile on Netanyahu and his genocidal cronies, pretend like he was the problem all along, even send him to The Hague, and transition back to processes of incremental genocide under the leadership of these very liberal Zionists, who will go back to enjoying the privileges they've grown accustomed to while slow rolling the expulsion of Palestinians from the West Bank. However, it is crucial to remember that the genocide could not have been possible without liberal Zionist propaganda and normalization. They have to face consequences that will not be absolved. This includes Hasbaretz, which amplified atrocity propaganda. The end. Why you trash on everything? Why are you trashing on everything? The world is good, right? I mean, it's good for you. It's good for me. But the world as a whole is not good. It's not good for many others. Yeah. I candidly prefer Brett Stevens' open bloodlust to this moral obfuscation around assumed goodness of civilized nations. Yeah. Israel's war in Gaza is not a genocide. It's a war for just cause, the elimination of a cruel, fanatical, itself potentially genocidal terrorist organization that oppresses its own people, holds innocent hostages, and will pose a severe danger to the state of Israel so long as it holds power. Oh, got it. Thanks, Ross. I guess it's not, it just became unjust. But it's still just, it seems, because that's how you started off the conversation. The war's heartbreaking civilian toll is inextricably linked to that terrorist government's refusal to obey the laws of war. Its unwillingness to surrender no matter how much of its own people suffer. Its willingness to accept famine rather than give up control of humanitarian aid. And inclination to let ceasefire negotiations spin endlessly. Okay, so it's just more fucking propaganda. Here it is. even when you have someone who's trying to assume a liberal Zionist position, which he is not, you still ultimately do a fuck ton of genocidal propaganda, because that's precisely what this is. You can't read anything like that. You can't read this as anything but that. How terrible. It's not even a vibe shift. Such a war cannot be fought exclusively with precision strikes. The soldiers fighting it cannot be prevented from making terrible mistakes, and war crimes are inevitably committed even in righteous conflicts. So there's no way to look at the rubble in Gaza and the death toll estimates and offer a mathematical proof that Israel is failing to exercise adequate restraint. I just think it's true. Deaths from famine are a clearer matter, which is why the threat of starvation is leading even some of Israel's strongest supporters to warn his government that something must change. Here, Israel has made a strategic choice, trying to separate food distribution from a system that it argues Hamas was exploiting for its own purposes. But if your strategic choice leads to children dying of starvation, the food available to feed them, then a civilized nation has to make a different choice, even if that makes things easier for its enemies to some degree. Yeah, Hamas is potentially genocidal, which justifies Israel's war crimes, is not the argument you want to be making in public 22 months in, you know? Same people saying the same shit about war on terror, their brains never change. Yeah. It's really fucked up. But that's it. Yeah, also, you were right again. Netanyahu's son claims Joe Rogan refused to have his father on the show. Years of anti-Semitic propaganda. Yeah. Even Joe Rogan has the wherewithal to recognize that it's a bad look for him to have Benjamin Netanyahu on 22 months into his genocide. Yeah. All right. This was uncharacteristic of me, but I think I'm going to end it here early today. And I apologize for the incredibly short broadcast. This is a literal half day, but I'm really tired. I've been up super early. I was filming something in the morning. I won't tell you what it is, but it's very exciting. It's a very exciting thing that I'm a part of. And that's it. I don't know why I'm dying right now. I'm just so tired. So I'm going to end it here on that note, and I will see you tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow, and I'll do like a regular ass stream. Noah Colwyn is here, staying with me. But yeah. Too much birthday fun? Yeah, I mean, I spent my birthday doing a fundraiser for an immigrant advocacy group. But love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace, everybody.
Sudden discord at your prop, great name. take embrace. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, on at your door. H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiance, talks of champagne bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot at DC. There he is again, her son is streaming. Her son is streaming. There he is again, her son is streaming. Her son is streaming.
Just keep it pushing. They work for us. That's it. In the short term, yes. Obviously, fucking yes. You need a political movement now to end the war, then vote the shitheads out at next election. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't even necessarily fully disagree with Tommy Vitor on this. Like, yeah, that's just what it's going to take. And I don't give a shit. We'll yell at them after, you know? If they vote in the appropriate direction going forward, then that's fucking great. Now, of course, we're having this conversation on a pure hypothetical that doesn't even exist at this moment. Like, who the fuck is changing their attitude and then voting alongside those lines, you know? Is there someone who's doing that? Why are people on this website obsessively attacking AOC when both New York senators actively defending everything Israel does? If anything, AOC and Pat Ryan should be lining up to unseat them. I think the easy answer is it's about hope and expectations. People are hungry for a totally unapologetic champion. AOC is one of the 10 best House members when it comes to calling out and opposing the genocide, but people want her to be the best. No equivocation at all, and that's not unreasonable. Yep, Ryan is right. It's the same reason as to why Bernie Sanders' liberal Zionism is insane, okay? Highest ranking, most popular Jewish politician in the United States of America who comes from this background, who comes from a socialist background. It's ridiculous. My expectations of Bernie Sanders are infinitely higher than fucking Chuck Schumer. Okay? What are we talking about? He knows better. He knows better, and he has a fuckload more influence too to be able to say, like, look, man, I'm Jewish. What is this? What's aggravating is that capitulating to Israel weapons funding doesn't help her at all. Israel doesn't accept anything less than full support. If she tries to run for anything, she'll be attacked by them full strength. Giving anything to them only hurts her with her own base. Exactly. No, absolutely. Better late than never. I had a former member